All right. Hi, guys. Welcome back. I think we're live. Let me fix my camera there. And hello. Welcome in. Hi, I'm Christopher.
I'm Angela.
What are we?
The dinosaur omelet.
Welcome to the Dinosaur Omelet. Hi, friends. Hopefully, everything's working good. We're nice to see you here. Two things. One, we usually start talking about the topic, which is the soil bedding, hidden danger or healthy ecosystem. I forget exactly what I called it, but we'll be discussing that tonight. And that usually starts about 5 or 6 minutes in. So we'll do all of our hello stuff. So if you want to skip ahead, go right ahead. And the other thing, a little information. We are not vets. I always mention this too late.
Oh, yeah.
Like halfway through. So, yeah, this is entertainment. This is from our experience. It's not veterinary or medical advice. So you guys, if you're having issues with your creatures, definitely seek professional, licensed veterinary service. Okay? We do these weekly discussions, and I find all this stuff very interesting, and a lot of it's very useful. But, do your due diligence and make sure you double check anything you see on the internet. That sound true?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Do we need to, is there something on the side that has to be changed if anybody writes in for us to see?
I don't believe so. I think everything's fine. I'm going to write one in here. See if this is working. Yeah, not really. Okay. That's okay. So hopefully everything else is working. All right, anyway, guys, you want to tell them about us real quickly? What we raise here, our animals?
We have a small hatchery. We focus on jumbo, wild, or farrow type jumbo quail. They're the larger quail, and the wild or farrow color type is just like a natural brown looking bird, but they're feather sexable at an early age. So we like them because they're really good for homesteading, self-sufficiency. Yes, they're the size of a grapefruit, roughly. And they produce a lot of eggs and are great for meat as well. But yeah, we also have silky chickens that we breed and sell as pets. And
there's a picture of Angela with her silkies. She calls them, what do you call them?
The Dino Puffs.
Dino Puffs. We have a Facebook page for these guys if you want to check it out.
A group. So, yeah, and we generally encourage people to become, more self-sufficient and learn new skills to better your quality of life, and also to do things with the family, the kids, and just
absolutely
to learn to make and stuff.
Yeah, that's why I do these weekly things, to give you guys education. Education makes you more capable at your home, at your homestead. Alleviates anxiety, so you're not flipping out about wondering what you're doing or what you're doing wrong. So always gain information. This is free information. I like doing this. I like learning. So I enjoy doing this. But I figure you guys benefit from it as well. Yeah, last thing, check down in our description here on our YouTube video. There's a lot of, again, free quality educational material, PDFs, pamphlets, things you can print out for yourself. I always show this just because my example here. I have down there a how to care for your quails guide.
Your chicks.
For the chicks. Mm-hmm. There's an overall care guide. If you've never raised quail before, and even if you're interested, just download this free thing. It'll tell you how to start up and raise quail, or give it to a friend, send it to somebody. Maybe they're wondering about raising their own food. Cool.
Yeah, I think the last time we did the video, though, didn't we have comments on the side here so that we could see, or is that?
No, I don't know. Maybe we did. Yeah, we hit some of these banners. Oh, there we go. Maybe that's it. All right, whatever. Not there now. We're using a streaming service as opposed to YouTube. And
I think if you hit comments, is that?
No, that's it. It'll come up.
Okay.
Because nobody's in there yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're still getting used to this new format.
All right, cool. So what's happening with the soiled coop bedding? I think I'll dive right into this. Again, I'm not a veterinarian, nor am I a veterinary professional giving veterinary advice. Please seek out a professional, licensed individual for any of your veterinary needs or concerns. This is all our experience, or as they say in internet land, entertainment purposes only. But it's good information. Mm-hmm. Right? So before I begin this, Angela is a big fan of soiled, what do you call it? I'm sorry, not soil bedding.
Deep litter.
Deep litter system.
Yeah, that's very different.
Angela's a big fan of deep litter system. You've been doing that for a while.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about
In
why this works.
different contexts, like brooders. That's a little bit of a different type of deep litter, but with the chicks, you can keep the bedding, keep adding layers and layers of bedding. But what we're going to talk about more specifically is like the microbiome and the ecosystem that takes place within the deep litter itself in a coop where the bedding is staying in there for like a long duration of time.
Yeah. So the reason I picked that thumbnail, if you remember what it looked like, or the title of this video, which was Soil Bedding, Hidden Danger or Natural System, is because intuitively humans, we think of leavings, crap, animal left leaving, like all of that manure. We think yuck, that's bad, right? Well, sure, if we were living in it, but the animals are adapted to it. We're going to talk about that and why a properly managed deep litter system is very beneficial. Okay, cool. So what's actually happening here? So bedding in the coop, I'm going to get to the things you really need to keep in mind before we even get started for an appropriate deep litter system or any litter system or just keeping chickens in general. Proper ventilation, right? You don't want to overcrowd your system. You don't want to have too many chickens living in one little small space. And you want to make sure it's secure from the elements so it's not getting wet. So proper ventilation, not too many animals.
So too many animals will add too much manure, pile up, and it will contribute to acidity and ammonia, too much of that in the space that they're in.
Not conducive to a healthy environment.
And then proper ventilation is important to have the airflow, a proper amount of airflow to move any dampness in the air out or any acidity or ammonia type of things out.
Yeah, I just want to state that before I even get started this, because if you guys are considering a deep litter system, you may have too many chickens and you may start a deep litter system because you want to manage all that manure and you're noticing your deep litter system is just becoming a deep pile of crap. You know, like what's going on here? The guy on the TV said I could do deep litter. No, I'm the guy on the TV. The guy on the TV saying you have to manage your coop properly and make sure you have the appropriate number of birds. Because if you have too many, even if you set up a really nice rotation for deep litter system, it's still going to be overwhelmed. Okay? And we're going to talk about that. But I want to get it out of the way first. All right. Introducing the deep litter system. It's a laying. I don't know what the hell's wrong with my voice. I can't talk today.
Take your time.
Layered bedding over time, meaning the bedding is getting soiled. You guys should understand this, right? What's happening? You're adding more?
You're adding more bedding? Yes, you add more bedding. Well, you're not just starting with like a half inch or an inch of bedding. You're putting in like 4 inches, maybe a little more than that, a couple inches more than that. So you're starting with a nice thick layer, and then you're tending to it over a series of weeks and weeks. And then, you'll add another layer because it's going to start, if it's properly managed, it'll start decomposing and shrinking, and then you're adding another layer.
It's essentially a compost pile that's building itself inside of the coop if properly managed. And we're going to talk about how to properly manage it. Hello, people dropping in. Thanks for coming in. If you have a question, let me know. I don't know who comes in here. We're good to see you. Yes. So a properly managed deep litter system, and properly managed is the important part, is going to be critical for the composting and the mitigation of harmful bacteria. Okay, moving on. Microbial activity and soil bedding. So the soil bedding, it is a compost system, essentially. A compost, like we have a compost pile. What is a compost pile? You take already soiled beddings and dump them into that compost pile and aerate it and churn it, etc. The only difference here is the chickens are creating the soil bedding.
And they're dwelling in the area to some degree.
Yeah, they're living and dwelling in a motorcycle gang. So, yes, so you're developing a compost pile essentially that the chickens are contributing to inside that house. So what's breaking it down, the microbial players in the game here are the bacteria, obviously, and fungus. Bacteria and fungus. The bacteria are going to be aerobic bacteria. They're doing the breakdown. Aerobic bacteria need to breathe air, have access to oxygen, hence ventilation. While we're talking about ventilation, one of the reasons. Another reason for ventilation is to manage the ammonia off-gassing that will occur. Okay, so ventilation is very important for a whole bunch of reasons. It keeps it dry, you're not going to have the buildup of moisture. So that's what we always talk when we do these videos, talk about ventilation. Ventilation.
Because birds are susceptible to respiratory illness.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have bacteria and fungus breaking down the components in the compost in the deep litter. Breakdown process. So I'm going to go into the breakdown process. I'm trying not to make this too, technical. I like it's a complicated, it's actually a very complex scientific subject, but it can be delivered simply. And I think that is true with a lot of things. Most things have a fundamental or natural function that we overthink it because there's so many complex working parts. Like the human body, take care of it, it's going to be healthy. But we think of it in so many little tiny parts. It becomes complex. Anyway, so the breakdown process. So what's happening here? The chickens are leaving their manure is high in nitrogen, phosphorus, and all these other compounds, and it's getting mixed in with the bedding, which is carbon-rich, right? Woody material. Maybe it's straw or what is it? Pine chips.
Usually it's like brown or yellow types of materials versus green or whatever.
So down there, it's carbon rich, and the little bacteria guys, they're going to eat it. They're going to be thriving because now moisture is also being introduced. Oh, sorry. I looked down to see if I had a comment here. So moisture is being introduced through the manure. It's mixing with the already existing hard woody materials, and the bacteria are coming to life. So they're going to be producing metabolic byproducts. We're going to break it down, and they're going to produce heat. Yes, heat.
And I suppose a couple examples of that material, bedding material, would be like it's the wood chips, straw, pine shavings, there's pellets, compressed pellets. There's hemp bedding.
There's
lots of different types of things. Yeah.
So. Yeah, so they're going to start producing their byproducts. Let's see, I'm dry. Sorry. The heat that's generating there, that's going to be happening as a result from the whole metabolic process. It creates significant heat. It can get up to 130 degrees or so in the bedding, which that itself is going to kill off and prevent some harmful bacteria from growing in there, just that heat environment. It's not going to sterilize it by any means, but it's going to compete with harmful bacteria. But the heat, to give you an example of how hot it gets in there, and so you can understand this, as soon as you start introducing bacteria to a food source, the bacteria are going to start eating, okay? Like when you get a big fresh load of mulch or freshly chipped wood, if you ever stick your hand down in there, you'll notice it's really, really warm or hot. It can be even hot. The same with your compost pile out in the winter. If you churn it, you may notice it's starting to steam up. It's steaming, okay? That's water vapor being produced and the heat sending it out. That's the bacteria doing that. It's breaking it down, and that's a byproduct of their breakdown. So you have an aerobic decomposition process being facilitated by these beneficial bacteria. Aerobic, air, ventilation. If you do not have proper ventilation in your deep litter system, okay, it gets wet, too much soiled manure from the chickens because you have too many in there, it becomes anaerobic. It becomes matted down. Air can't get in there. Air's not flowing. And then it's not breaking down. It begins to rot. It's a much different thing. So something else is happening. There's different bacteria in there, and it promotes the growth of harmful bacteria. So it's a fine line. Well, not really. I mean, you're either composting or it's not composting. You want to make sure your deep litter is getting air and that it's not overly soiled or wet, moisture. Okay. Anything you'd like to add to that, ma'am?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay.
That was
All right.
good.
I take notes, so I'm always looking down at my notes. You guys know what I'm doing. So why all of this matters? A living bacterial mass controls the chemical environment, and it regulates odor via ammonia binding. What's ammonia binding? So the nitrogen compound in the, what do you call it? The chicken feces.
The manure.
Yes, as that's decomposing, they're producing ammonia. Little bacteria producing ammonia gets up in the air. And again, ventilation. That's why you want ventilation. You don't want the ammonia lingering in there. You're going to have ammonia. But there's also bacteria that bind the ammonia. They capture some of that and they reuse it. That becomes their food, essentially. They're going to turn it into another compound, nitrates and nitrates. So, yes, the ammonia smell is going to be controlled by proper ventilation, number one, and bacterial activity down in the compost. It's really amazing.
The good bacteria.
The good bacteria, because it's oxygenated. You're getting air in there. As soon as that thing gets matted down, wet, I think everybody's seen wet, matted, disgusting. That's where you have, it's no longer composting. It's going to start to ferment. It's going to start causing, and it smells horrible. Composted bedding, it actually has an earthy smell. It transforms all that crap into earthy compounds to, once the bacteria are finished with it. So oxygen levels influence which microbes are going to dominate. As we just discussed, anaerobic pockets create foul smells and produce harmful compounds. Again, ventilation, and those harmful bacteria coming in there can instigate a illness in your birds.
Yeah, and even like fungal type things, fungi can start growing, and that'll let out spores, which would be harmful, potentially harmful for the respiratory of the bird. So, yeah.
Yes, indeed. So the bedding is essentially its own microbiome, its own ecosystem. Everything, I mean, that's what I talk about very frequently, is systems and systems management, and everything is a system comprised of interconnected other systems, and they're all complex. So this is just another system that's incorporated into your poultry's life, into your entire homestead, because guess what? You can use the compost from that filthy, dirty, composted bedding, which is now clean bedding, in the garden.
Yeah, and they actually because it becomes a really nice substance. It's dry, and the birds they'll dust bathe in it, and it's actually beneficial to them.
Yeah, it's not completely dry because of the oxygenation. There's like a 20% or so moisture content in the stuff that's been that's been composted. Yeah, that's it's like dirt. It should just look like.
And then when you mix it, anyway. Yeah.
And it has a very earthy smell. It doesn't smell foul. If it's smelling foul, that means your oxygen's not getting in there. The bacteria are getting wet. So there's too much moisture or something's happening and it's not composting properly. It's starting to decompose and rot. Okay, so be aware of that. Why chickens can live in a soil bedding. So that's another question. And a lot of people are hesitant to do a deep litter system. And some people are nuts. They're cleaning out their chicken house every other day, which you shouldn't do either. And here's why. So why are chickens thriving in what we would get sick in? Right? It's a house where they're crapping everywhere. They don't have little bathrooms in there. So how are they doing this? A lot of you guys already know this, but it's really fascinating. We have a living, active microbiome. We have one in our gut. We have microbes all over our skin, on our body, and the same with the chicken. The chicken has adapted to his environment, right? Even the day they hatch, they're put into a bedding system, and they're getting acclimated to being around their droppings and all this other stuff. So their body develops an environment, a microbial environment within and without, inside their body and on their body, to compete with the natural microbes in their environment. I like to say this, like if you go to Mexico, everybody, or wherever you're going, a different country, the water is not the water you drink here. There's organisms present in their water. What happens? They tell you don't drink the water. Why? People down there drink the water and they're perfectly fine because they were consistently adapted to that water, and they have a glass of water and they go about the day. You go down, glass of water, and you're throwing up in a toilet for a month because their gut microbiome has developed
The hardiness. and
yes, they're hardy
resistance,
to the
they've
local
adapted to it.
organisms. And that's similar, that's just a metaphor, similar to what's happening with the birds. You know, they're living in their environment. They become hardy to what's naturally present. However, there can be things that will instigate a pathogenic load they cannot handle. All right, we always talk about coccidiosis, in the ground.
Yep.
And when it gets wet in the spring.
Yeah, that parasite thrives in damp, manure soiled areas. So
however, that's always present. It's just not at a level that's going to be harmful.
Well, it may not be initially present, but once it becomes
can be present.
It then is likely going to be there for a very long time because it's difficult to remove. Yeah, it's because it's such a hardy parasite.
The coccidios.
Yeah, and it goes dormant and all that stuff.
Yeah, and the same in the chicken house. You're going to have bad guy pathogens.
But real quick.
Oh, yes.
But even if coccidiosis becomes present, that doesn't mean the environment can't be managed properly to push down that invasion, if you will. The pH levels can be altered, and if you're keeping your area dry and clean, not like pristine clean, but dry and free of buildup of manure, then
so
the
like
load of different parasites and such pathogens drops.
If you think about like a rainstorm and the things, you have a roof, but you always notice water coming in. That's water. That's line water, and that is a good medium once it's mixed with bedding to be a breeding ground for these anaerobic bacteria, because it's now matted down because it has weight. It's squished down. Air's not flowing. It's wet. So when water infiltrates, again, same with excessive manure. It's moist. It has water. There's water content. Or if there's even feed spillage that can contribute to that. Then you can have a proliferation of bad guy organisms. Yeah, bad bacteria can start growing in there because they have a good environment.
Some comments there.
Oh, Foley Gardens. Hi, Angela Christopher. I hope you have been enjoying warm weather. Finally stopped raining. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Oh, we got a couple other people in here.
Yeah, he's reading.
I have this hillbilly setup down here. We'll have an iPad to the side. We don't use a computer. We have enjoyed the weather. We went biking yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has been nice.
Oh, crap. Sorry, I'm late. Oh, hi, Kelly. You're never late.
Hi.
And Katrina, do you need to be concerned if it's exposed to rain? Oh, I'm sorry I missed your question earlier, Katrina. And so if you're talking about the bedding, yeah, because the bedding, if it's getting wet.
If you're more thinking of like bedding on the ground, and it's not covered, or maybe it's covered and it's still getting wet, and it's not drying quickly, then yes, you're going to want to give some extra attention to it. Did you want to say any more, or shall I continue?
Well, I didn't know what she was referring to. If you're talking about bedding in the coop, yeah, you definitely don't want that getting wet, because
you don't want it staying wet.
It's hard to dry. Well,
yeah, in both situations, bedding in the coop, bedding on the ground, you don't want it to stay wet. So if it gets wet and there's some sort of this, it dries, then it's okay. But if it's wet for I don't know, it's just it doesn't take long for bacteria and parasites and pathogens to kind of take off. So if it's warm, wet, and there's like soiled bedding or bedding, then they're going to become more. If you can swap it out or put some maybe like agricultural barn lime down without causing dust in the air, and put fresh bedding if it's a spot, or if it's the ground, then you're going to want to tend to that bedding. You don't want the animals on soiled, wet stuff. Yeah.
Very good. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, if not, let us know.
Another question.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Am I losing my track? I think I'm losing my place. Pathogen risks and management strategies we didn't discuss yet. Moisture, temperature, and ventilation. Again, the litter will get hot. It's going to start warming up. It may get 100 degrees, 130 degrees. It's not going to get to a sterilization level. But what's cool about that warmer temperature, because, yeah, you're going to have heat produced from the processes these bacteria. Again, like I used that, what do you call it, wood chips example. You chip up fresh wood and put it in a big pile. Put your hand in it. You can feel how hot it gets. That's not chemicals. That's bacteria. That's bacteria going to work immediately with that fresh source. So with your deep litter bedding, I can't even say that once right. With your deep litter bedding, it's going to be warm. It'll get warmer. Okay. And what's cool about that is that warm environment, close to hot environment, prohibits some of the bad bacteria that might want to linger in there. It may even...
Yeah, so the warmth he is talking about is not the same thing as like the warmth of a hot day, you know, temperature of just a day's temperatures. You're talking about there's a certain level of decomposition happening.
It's metabolic heat. It's biological heat coming off.
Like around 130 degrees or a little less.
Yeah, but it's not to be used, not to be thought of as, the thing's not getting sterile, but it's prohibiting some growth of some of the bacteria.
So it's kind of helping manage the good stuff, the good bacteria. The temperature's going to go up and down.
And those guys like heat, and they like the warmth, and they thrive in that warm environment.
The good guys,
So even in the winter, it's going to be a little warmer in there if it's being managed properly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Potential pathogens. We talked about this. Salmonella, of course, E. coli, Clostridium, and Coccidiosis. Coccidiosis. Oh, and fungus. You know, you don't want fungi growing in there because you can get respiratory illness from that. That's bad for chickens. So you want to be careful about the growth of pathogens, which is going to be prohibited by proper coop management. Again, moisture, ventilation, making sure that's in control. All right, risk factors we've discussed. So risk factors for your deep litter system and the development of disease or pathogens inside of your coop, it's going to be, I think, number one would be probably poor ventilation. I'm going with poor ventilation over overcrowding.
Yeah,
I think we agree.
Both pretty close, but I would say that.
Yeah, poor ventilation in your coop is going to allow that thing to get moist. It's not going to dry out.
It's just going to get moist just from the birds breathing.
They respirate quite
let alone from them going to the bathroom. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it sounds crazy that we keep saying that. It's like, what do you mean? Just put some holes in your coop? Yeah, I mean, it's that important. People, again, like, they're not human. They're chickens. Humans think in the winter especially, oh, I should wrap this whole thing up. People new to chickens, you may want to wrap them up. Can you hold that, please? Because you're like, oh, I don't want them getting cold from the winter air.
It's a good idea to make sure, go around your coop and make sure there's no drafts, which is not the same thing as ventilation.
I have an outdoor, sorry, here's Katrina. Thank you for this information. Oh, hey, Steve, thanks for coming in. Katrina said, I have an outdoor quail hutch and was curious if pine shavings under it would help or be harmful.
It's a hutch, so it's raised. Here's a note on bedding.
So the quail poop's very nitrogen rich. Sorry.
So shavings, okay, so I guess it depends on what your intent is. If you're looking for maybe smell, odor management, or if you're wanting to make sure dampness, you know, is managed, then pine shavings tends to hold moisture, and it doesn't help a whole lot with odor. The compressed pellets, I think they're called horse pellets. They're used in stalls. They work really well for odor. And then if it gets wet, then it will break apart and it'll swell up, and then the water will drain out of it really easily, and then it'll become like a dust, like a sawdust. That is actually a really nice material to use inside coops. People like to use that as well. You can use that inside of a coop. It'll break down as the birds are walking on it.
And I think this also goes to try out different things and see what works best.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't know how many quail she has too. That's going to be a big difference.
It depends what your intent is. If it's like for odor or if it's for moisture management under the hutch.
Taco's here. Hi, Taco. He said like a compost bin. It's exactly that. It's exactly, I was saying at the beginning of this video, it's like the deep litter system is acting like a compost pile that the chickens are contributing to, and you're contributing to, because you're adding extra organic matter, you're adding extra shavings or whatever.
So the deep litter system is something that's within a closed structure and not being it's not open to the elements. A compost pile is going to be open to the elements typically, so it'll be rained on and such. And so the care, there's similar things that you do to care for these types of things with churning and adding material to it. But the deep litter system within a closed structure, like inside of a coop, that's what you've been talking about.
Yes.
The care of it is different, and yeah. I don't know. It's gonna. If that makes sense.
Katie stepped in. Hi, hon. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so let me go back to my risk factors.
Okay, yeah,
so I said ventilation is a huge risk factor to, and again, risk factor to what? We want to have a properly managed deep litter system. That's what I'm referring to when I say risk factors.
Yeah.
What's going to compromise a properly managed deep litter system? Ventilation, overcrowding, obviously, or maybe not obviously. You may not know if you have too many chickens, but so the composting of the chicken droppings is going to be handled by the bacteria if it's not in excess, It's like the guy at the desk working on a paper. I can get this done, but then you drop a box of papers at the guy's desk. It's too much. He can't. Same with the bacteria.
So
they
then
get overwhelmed.
The bad bacteria start to take over,
and it gets wet, and it traps moisture, and it can't break it down. It's not going to be broken down. There's too much.
That's why you're going to notice
there.
It's smelly,
and then it's going to promote the growth of
ammonia,
bacteria, bad bacteria, and it's going to be a liability for the chickens. So overcrowding is definitely an issue. Overcrowding and ventilation.
Yeah.
Excessive moisture leads to anaerobic pockets. That's just, again, too much moisture. Yeah. Anaerobic means what? No air. Aerobic means like 1980s aerobic exercises, oxygen. So the anaerobic bacteria, they like those wet, matted, smelly piles of straw where no air is getting in, and the anaerobic bacteria that thrive are not good. So we don't like them. We like the aerobic. Some of them are good, like lactobacillus.
Some people some people give their chickens access to food and water like 24 hours a day. Like they'll have it out in the run. Then they'll also include it inside of the coop. But the thing about it being inside of the coop is, well, first of all, they're resting. They don't need to eat at night. Their body is going to start working on what they ate during the day, and it's in their crop. Yeah, and if you have food and water inside of the coop, and if there's a light on, then you're going to have a possibility of water, getting dumped or leaked from the waterer into the bedding, which isn't good. And then also, of course, if they have the opportunity to eat and drink excessively, then they're going to be going to the bathroom a lot more too. So that's going to soil the space. So yeah, it's not necessary to give chickens access to water and food 24/7. However, there are occasions like in the wintertime or harsh weather where it maybe the birds don't want to go outside. That's a different situation.
Now, Katrina said, thank you very much for your info, but I want to tell Katrina the quail should have access to food.
Yes.
So we were talking about
chickens.
Chickens, you don't want to give them food 24 hours a day. The quail are a different bird. And yeah, they should have access to food. They're not going to overeat like a chicken would.
Right.
Like if you have a chicken you feed all the time, especially if it's a bird that you butcher eventually and you do an autopsy, you'll notice a lot of fat deposition.
Yeah. And the quail, as soon as they have light on them, with the
photoperiodicity.
Yeah, with the sun and all that stuff, they're going to be up and active, and they have faster metabolism than a chicken. So they're going to need to be having sustenance whenever they need it. They don't overeat though.
Well, let me tell Katrina one other thing, hon. I don't know if you saw, but at the beginning of this video, if you're doing quails, we have a ton of free quail information down in the description. It's like a ton of stuff down there. It's just all like links to a Google Drive with PDFs, and I do all these illustrations, I like drawing. So anyway, good information. Risk factors. Okay, management. Oh, you know, we haven't got into management, which really isn't that difficult. So the point of this is you don't want to have the great thing about the deep litter system is you don't have to clean frequently. Okay, it's less work. You want your homestead and whatever you're doing to be efficient. And if it's not necessary to clean all the time, then we should not probably be doing that. And it's okay for these birds, and it's beneficial.
Yeah, you can spot clean here and there.
Yeah, I mean we scoop out. You know, we have a litter, we have a droppings board. I have a video on this YouTube channel somewhere about our chicken coop where I walk through, and you'll see it's a flat board, but
it's slanted.
I'm trying to get perspective. It's a flat board that's slanted slightly.
With a lip on it.
And the birds are up here, and
the
then
roosts.
And so I can just scoop off the board every few days. And it doesn't get in, so the bedding doesn't. Yeah, there's bedding below, but the bedding won't get soiled as quickly because I can just scoop off that board. And that bedding stays good for how long? Months.
A very long time.
Because it doesn't really get soiled in our coop because of that droppings board.
Yeah.
Not to the degree it would.
So with the management.
Yeah, management. One of the things you're obviously going to be doing is adding new bedding.
Yeah, so you're going to monitor it. People will keep it, months at a time, and you're going to periodically churn it and mix it. So you want to keep the air getting to the different parts so the good healthy bacteria are doing their job.
And you'll smell a earthy smell if it's being composted properly. Compost smells like compost. It smells like the earth. It has that very earthy smell. That's a byproduct from one of the types of bacteria in there breaking apart and breaking down lignin and cellulose. So lignin and cellulose, real quick for everybody, these are very tough compounds. Cellulose makes up basically the cell wall in plants, and lignin is a binder. It's like a very pulpy, or I guess woody kind of gluish substance. Anyway, the whole point is they're very hard to break down. We don't break them down easily or at all. So the bacteria do. So even us humans, when we're eating something like a cabbage or all those nice fibrous foods, you ever hear of probiotics? Yeah. Then there's prebiotics. Prebiotics are basically, in a simple way to say it, the food that the probiotics eat. So when we eat something like...
You're feeding your happy bacteria.
Yeah. So cellulose is one of those things. That fiber is getting broken down by those guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the chicken coop, sorry, let me just finish. In the chicken coop, there are bacteria and fungus that are breaking apart the very hard components of the bedding, like the straw. And then there's other bacteria that are breaking apart the softer stuff, like the, what do you call that? The manure. Okay. So everybody has a job down there.
Oh, I don't know why this just changed. I don't know why, but we're new to the Do Not Have.
No, I know why it does that. It's just a glitch. So we glitch. So
sorry,
I guess
guys, we're sideways now.
We're almost done.
But yeah, so you're gonna notice with time that the bedding, like let's say you put in 6 inches, every so often you're gonna churn it, like we said, and you're gonna notice that 6 inches is gonna start shrinking and shrinking, and it's gonna become a more dry dirt type consistency, but much, it's very dry, and it's gonna be much less bedding. So then you're gonna want to add another 4 to 6 inches of fresh bedding, and the same, you repeat, and just it's periodically, maybe once a year, twice a year, depends on your bedding and how many birds you have, completely clean it out and then start again. But some people just keep going and going because of their setup. Yeah,
it depends on the setup. And this is just an intro. If it interests you, like I said at the beginning of this thing, just do some due diligence, do some reading and educating yourself on what all this is. It's not very hard. I mean, again, this is a natural ecosystem. Mother Nature is doing the vast majority of the work. We just have to do a little bit of the work. One other thing with management, you may want to fluff up or churn slightly, not like you're doing a whole rotation in a real compost pile, but you may want to fluff it up a little.
So it doesn't get too compacted.
Just birds get some air in there, make sure the air is getting to it.
But usually the chickens also will help you with this process because they naturally dig and look for things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thanks, Taco. Said we have a lot of good quail info. Yeah, we try to give good info. We have a lot of customers we deal with. There's a lot of suspicious characters out there. I'll say that. Like we had a lot of people getting ripped off this year.
Yeah, chicken scammers.
I guess we're done. Let me finish this and I'll go on this whole tirade. So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the deep litter system is essentially a interior compost ecosystem. It's a contained ecosystem. It is a living ecosystem. One of the things I'll tell you, if you ever go into any kind of farming or tending to plants, you're dealing with living soil. The soil is a living organism. When you start thinking of them this way, it starts to make sense. You're not planting plants in dirt. You're planting them in this living ecosystem because it's bacteria that are working down there. They're producing byproducts that feed the plants, and the plants can't grow without them. It's very fascinating. Same thing in this compost pile or in this deep litter system, which is a contained composting environment.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it is not. I forget, what was this video called? I forget. Is it gosh, I closed it up. Hidden danger or natural system? It is not a hidden danger unless it's wet and you didn't know about it.
Right.
If you got a wet litter patch and you didn't know that, that's a hidden danger because it's breeding bacteria. If it's not wet and you're managing it properly, it's a natural ecosystem and it's beneficial for you. You're saving time, you're saving energy, and you have a good pile of conditioned soil to throw into the garden.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true.
Okay, cool. So I'll end that. What was I yapping about? Oh, chicken scammers. Yeah, so a lot of people this year were getting ripped off because of the surge of egg prices, and people wanted to start raising their own birds. And we hear these sad stories from customers. People putting down hundreds of dollars on chickens and then
because they're
getting
new.
ripped off.
Yeah.
And they're new and they're excited. And that really is upsetting because you got all these excited people who, I'm not doing anything with chickens. It's traumatizing.
Yeah.
You get ripped off by some dimwit so you can go buy whatever. Anyway, so we did deal with quite a bit of that. But yeah, there's tons of info in our description.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen us on the book, you can check us out on our Facebook. I think I put this on there. Where is that? I guess I don't have it on here, but that's okay. But yeah, come check us out if you want, especially if you live close to us in this area, southern Lancaster County in Pennsylvania. So we're a hyper local business. Some people ship eggs all over the country. We do. Angela hatches her silkies. We raise her quail, and we deal locally with people, and we meet humans face to face. And that's why I like doing this video, so the humans can come see us and see we're actual people. And not just some scammer. And you just got to be careful out there.
Yeah.
And then you'll have a wonderful time and you'll learn stuff. Thank you very much, everybody. Let me pick up sorry for being sideways.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just a glitch we're using StreamYard, which I actually like, until it does this, and then we're sideways. But yeah, thanks you guys. Taco, Kelly, Katrina. I always like doing this. If you're older, you guys remember Romper Room? You don't know what Romper Room is, do you?
I don't think so.
Yeah. See, how old are you?
39.
Oh my God. I really feel old. I'm a little older than 39. So in Romper Room, they would hold up the magic mirror and they would look around and say who was in the room that day. So that's what I'm doing. We have Taco and Katrina, Fuller Gardens. I don't know your real name, Fuller Gardens. I'm sure I do, but I don't know off the top of my head. Steve is there. Miss Marianne, yeah. You see, I'm 50. I remember Romper Room. And I remember Electric Company. These are the good kid shows. They're from the 70s. And Taco and Katrina. And I think that's everybody. All right, guys. Taco remembers. Good. My heart leaps with this ending. I should get a real magic mirror.
That's very cute.
I like kids. I like happiness. I like people to be happy. Like, I love your approach to learning. It's so stressless. Well, it should be stressless. Ah!
Oh my God.
It should be
That's funny.
stressless. Like,
talking about
I
stress
like
levels. Give me
learning.
this.
I always tell people I was like a solid E and F student in school, and the teachers were horrible, and I didn't know how to learn. And again, it was the 70s and 80s. What do you expect? But eventually I started reading and teaching myself. I was like, oh, wait, wow, information is really cool. I have a deep, so we're a Christian family, and I have a deep theological foundation. And my thing is, even if you don't, the authorship of the universe, the authorship of nature is so beautiful and so precise and intricate. Whether you believe in God or not, it's just this amazing thing to learn about. And you can go as deep as you want. You can get PhD level education, or you can just be somebody who enjoys it by looking at a tree, but you can learn each day. You can learn something new. And when you learn, you become more interested, and it becomes more valuable to you. I always use the example of musicians versus somebody who listens. Everybody likes music, but the musician who learns it and studies it, they appreciate it at a deeper level. They can appreciate it because they understand it. They understand how it works, whereas somebody who doesn't have that knowledge does not. Doesn't mean they don't appreciate it. They just can't appreciate it at that knowledge level, because now the musician understands. It's the same with anything else. You're raising a chicken, you appreciate them. But then when you begin to understand that they have their own personalities, how their system works, how their little coop politics function, it becomes really interesting. Does that make sense? But nothing is as good as a magic mirror. I got to bring that back. I tell people I'm an amalgamation. I'm a mixture of, what is it? Mr. Rogers, Bob Ross, the painter, because they aren't, and Pee Wee Herman, and the Crocodile Hunter.
Oh, Steve Irwin.
Yeah. Those are the four humans that I think I came into being. So, all right, you guys. This was really fun. Sorry about sideways. If you like this, tell other humans to stop on by if they like this kind of stuff, this kind of content. I like teaching. I like giving information out. We're going into the age of AI. People are going to become exceptionally lazy and disconnected. And so this is a preemptive exercise, getting people and trying to encourage people to do human things and interact with each other and, veer away from this future that might come where they're just going to be doing this perpetually. I mean, they already do that right now. It's just going to get worse. So let's do human stuff together.
But if you're new to our channel, feel free to like and subscribe to our channel. And
and usually it's right side up and not sideways.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's been real.
I think we're good.
Taco, thank you. She said, be a good steward. I'm trying. All right, guys. Have a great day or great night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.